Here we are, a group of 5 young people who decide they're going to do their own thing, which is what a lot of young people want to do, make a record. And that basically is what Pugwall is about. But unfortunately, as life has it, they can't just go and do a record. All the adults tell them that they should kind of go and do their thing at school and forget that. Friends do that. And yet, again, against everything, they succeed. In fact, they succeed in the program because on the last episode, they actually release a record through Australia's greatest record company, Mushroom Records. And yet, in reality, Mushroom Records are actually releasing an album. So who's copying what? Is TV copying real life, or is real life copying TV? It's amazing. How many programs have we done in Australia of this type? Now, the first series of Pugwall was very successful, really successful, and that's why Channel 9, or the 9 Network, with us decided to go for a second series. Young people, I believe, don't get enough television of their own. C-drama, children's drama, yes, is available. 13 hours a year, which is amazing. Yet teenage drama is not available. So our teenagers tend to watch soaps, and we tend to cast teenagers in soaps to try and attract an audience. Yet we can't really delve into their personal problems in case the oldies get tired of the whole thing. So therefore, we really need programs of Pugwall's type. If we are ever going to become a clever country and back to being a successful country, television is going to have to play an important part for young people because they're our future. Now, making young people's program is probably the most difficult thing you can attempt in this country. Firstly, the tribunal states only 13 hours a year has to be done. Therefore, that's all we do. And at the moment, because of the recession, television obviously can't afford to do a lot of Australian content. So we end up with umpteen million producers all trying to do children's programs. And here we are, LJ Productions, whose main occupation is to make children's programs, are now competing with producers of adult programs making children's programs. So it's very difficult. When Pugwall 2 was going to be done, when we decided to go ahead with it with the 9 Network, unfortunately we could not get any government finance. Now, to make children's programs in this country without government finance is virtually impossible. The budget we decided was going to be around about 2.2 million, which was a workable budget, on the basis that it's useless us making programs in this country that are going to cost $6 million and are only going to return 2 million from overseas and locally. I mean, why should my tax go to pay wanky producers? So we decided that the way the situation is around the world, that a budget of 2.2 million would be adequate for us to return some money. Thank you, Channel 9. If it wasn't for the 9 Network, this would not have been done. So 9 came in with us, and they paid virtually half the budget. And the other half of the budget had to come through LJ Productions. My co-producer, who also happens to be my boss and my wife, hocked everything. And thanks to Westpac and a dear friend of a bank manager, Michael O'Halloran, who kept us going. So at the moment, unless we get some overseas sales soon, LJs will disappear out of thin earth. But it was a decision we had to make. Do we make another Pugwall? We knew Pugwall was necessary because we knew there was an audience there that wanted it. So we decided to take the risk. We took the risk, and hopefully our audience will vindicate us from next week onwards, when we hope to get a rating of 16 at 4:30. That's my dream. At the same time, if we can do that, I would then like to see if we could raise some money to make another series of Pugwall, but this time not as a seed program, because obviously the young people in it are now much older. We want to do a teenage program, a program that actually delves within the teenage problems, with music, of course, because music is an important part of a young person's life. We also have the idea of doing a series called the Marmalodians. The Marmalodians are the younger group, the younger age group in Pugwall, which is Pugwall's sister and her mates, and that would be C-drama. And the idea of the Marmalodians would be a a program where these 6 young girls decide to open a newspaper. And boy, do they have fun. So do the newspapers. Now, obviously, I don't want to spend too much time. The thing that I like to do is thank everybody that worked on the show. We worked to some very wee hours because obviously the budget was small, and some of us sort of kind of slept about 2-3 hours a day for quite a long time. My co-producers Frank Brown and Louise Hall, of course. Margaret Clark, without whose book we would never have made Pugwall. Alan Hopgood, without his speed writing, would never have got this show done because of the pressure of time that we had. Again, I mustn't forget Louise and mortgaging of all the things. Peter Moskos, who created the music for this program, which I think the kids are going to like very much indeed. Somebody who's helped me through the series, Fiona Robertson, probably one of the best publicity ladies around the country. And again, I really would like to thank, of course, Mushroom, because I think the program and the music are going to be important for young people, because we can't have television without music or music without television. It works both ways. But I think the most important organisation is the Nine Network. Now, I know the Nine Network gets all sorts of, we actors and directors tend to criticise networks. And the networks are there to make money, that's their job. Same as an actor has to make money, or else you can't survive. Yet they took the risk with us, and I'm hoping for their sake and our sake that the series works. What I'd like to do is show you some of Pugwall. Now, obviously, I don't want to bore everybody to death, so we'll run a tape, and I'll probably run it for about 5 or 6 or 10 minutes. And when everybody's had enough, we then, just keep it going. Then I'll introduce, I guess, the one I'm on Meldrum. But let's just look at a bit of Pugwall.
Nobody tell me what to do. No, not to me. Nobody tell me what to say. Can't you see? I've got a dream I'm gonna make it.
13 hours, and this was just a tiny bit of 13 hours. It's a lot. One of the important things about Pugwall's life is that his aim is to make $1 million before breakfast. Now, I'm not sure if Molly Meldrum has done that yet or not, but ladies and gentlemen, Molly Meldrum.
Thanks, John. Pugwall is a very interesting series in two respects, and part of it was brought up with John before. Number one, about of how a television series, which is based on the lifestyles of young teenagers who have amazing dreams, and many of those dreams can become part of a rock and roll group, and how it can then become a reality of having an album out under the banner, this time around, of Mushroom Records. It is quite strange when John was saying that, because I remember going right back many years ago when we were doing a piece on Neighbours, of where they'd come up with an idea of young Jason being a songwriter, and he comes around to home and presents him with the demo tape as playing part of the character. And Kylie, and her character, was in fact the vocalist on their demo tape. And it turns out that Kylie, the record chiefs, like Kylie's voice, don't particularly like the song. Now, that was actually played out as part of a fantasy, and through that fantasy it was decided, once they heard Kylie's voice, that maybe it mightn't be a bad idea through Mushroom Records if in fact they did a record with Kylie. And of course she did Like Emotion, and of course now it's history that she's become the all-time seller on the British charts, even over Madonna. So sometimes reality does become a reality over fantasy. With Pugwall, it's dealing with young teenagers, and as I say, sometimes they have these dreams of within their own lifestyles of music plays a very important part in their lives, and they have dreams of becoming something to do with the music, especially sort of either joining a group or becoming a major star. In Pugwall's case, of dreaming to become a millionaire, well, I can tell you that is not exactly the case because it takes a lot of hard work. But that is generally the case with a lot of kids around the world, not only in Australia, who have that dream. And I think that we've seen it time and time again in this country as far as young bands making it here in Australia and then achieving success overseas. And I think that it's still continuing. And if you just look at the dreams of some of the young bands who are now dominating the charts, if you look at Rat Cat, they had the same dream, probably the same experiences of what Pugwall are now putting over as far as their series is concerned. And if you even look at Screaming Jets, a lot of these people go through those sort of experiences when they're around about 12, 13, 14, of having those dreams. Pugwall as a series, their first series, was shown on the Nine Network last year without any great fanfare. What was the astonishing thing, through my travels, I started finding people, families, asking me about Pugwall. And when the series was repeated over the summer period, there was quite an astonishing reaction to the series. I congratulate certainly John and all those who have been associated with putting this series together, because it does show a certain lifestyle of young teenagers within this country. It does catch the imagination of the young people in this country. It is something that is said in their terms, they speak in their terms, and I think that's very important for anything to do with young television. And it is sad that the government did not support or did not give a grant to this series, because it is important. And as we see life go on in this country, the dreams not only of young teenagers of being in rock groups, but the dreams of young teenagers making something of themselves in this country is an all too real point. And I certainly hope that that even with the recession and what's going on now, that we've always been known as the lucky country, and hopefully one day we'll be able to turn that around and become the lucky country again, as Kylie Minogue and Jason Donovan and Craig McLaughlin through a television series has shown that they are indeed the lucky people. The Pugwall series features a lot of music, and it was written by, most of the bulk of the music was written by a friend of mine, Peter Moskos, who I've known for a long, long time. And even Peter will can recall back of the days when, the heady days of when it was just all of us back there trying to do something in the music industry back in the 60s into the 70s, that there were young dreams then. And Peter can recall being in groups backing then Johnny Farnham, sweet little Johnny Farnham, and many others, Russell Morris, Darryl Braithwaite, they all worked together. Peter has an amazing ability to write songs. He's also a brilliant musician, and Peter has been the musical force behind the Pugwall series, and he's written many songs. And I'd like to now show you just some of the songs that have been written by Peter Moskos and performed by a young singer that is emerging out of the Pugwall series, and watch out for her, because she's going to be something to reckon with, I reckon, and she's not just like a Kylie Minogue, Rebecca Blomberg. So let's have a look at this first.
Nobody tell me what to do. No, not me. Nobody tell me what to say. Can't you